Government has said it will partner with the private sector for major development projects, and focus has been on a hotel project in the south for which a multi-million-dollar loan is being sought. But some doubts have been now raised about the present state of the loan application.
There are some questions about the status of an application for a US $100 million loan from the Exim Bank of China in the wake of statements from the Minister of Finance, who is spearheading the process. In a media conference at the headquarters of the National Democratic Congress on August 27th, Minister Nazim Burke gave assurance that the application process was complete.
We have made significant progress in the sense that we have submitted all of the application documentation that we are required to submit in respect of the loan. That includes the financial and cost feasibility studies, that as to the project, the business model that we propose to employ, the assumptions on which we have developed the model, the revenues that we believe will be generated annually by the hotel, the cost that will have to be paid to the management company that will run the hotel, the rate at which we would repay the loan that if it were taken to finance the operations, the time that it will take to pay off the loan, and therefore whether the project is a viable one or not a viable one. We are satisfied that on the basis of the terms and conditions that have been offered, it is a viable project. We have submitted the documentation. They've asked for additional information, which we've submitted on 2 occasions, and we are now at the stage where they've said we have all the documentation that we need. We are presently evaluating the application, and you'll hear from us soon. Our anticipation is that perhaps within the next month or 2, we should know what's going on.
However, in a media conference last week Tuesday with a team from the International Monetary Fund, just 1 month later, Minister Burke gave a different account on the status of the application.
So we have submitted an application. That application has to be supported by feasibility studies and other documentation. Those documents are yet to be submitted. We are working on the feasibility documents, and we will see where it goes.
Work on preparation of the documents is still ongoing, the minister said last Tuesday.
An application has been submitted. There are yet documentation to be filed to complete that application. And we are presently working on some of that documentation for submission.
The International Monetary Fund has said they are not in support of the government adding to the national debt. But at last week's conference, head of the mission, Ms. Nita Thacker, says they have not yet taken a position on the loan application.
Anytime there's a borrowing for a project that could be done by the private sector, our general principles are that the private sector involvement should be high. The private sector should be the majority holder. The loans should be on a concessional basis because, as one of your colleagues was pointing out, Grenada already has a debt GDP ratio that is very high, in the region of about 120%. So it should be on concessional terms, and the project should be vetted out and the feasibility study done.
Several factors would have to be considered before the IMF decides on its position, Ms. Thacker says.
We have to look at the project. We have to know what private sector participation are, what are the terms of the loan, how big is the size, project. If the private sector is doing it, is undertaking it. So we have to have more details to give you, our judgment. But those are the principles on which we would base any judgment.
The minister has said that the Four Seasons project is one major development which could stimulate the construction sector and ease the unemployment situation for hundreds of workers. Beverly Sinclair, CC6 Newsnight.